72% of Democrats say opposing Trump isn't enough. And they actually want a progressive policy agenda. 72% of Democrats say that that's not enough. Opposing Trump by itself, that isn't enough. Well, 28% don't pay attention to politics at all, but still respond to polls for whatever reason. Maybe boredom. I guarantee nobody watching this is in that 28%. I can pretty much get opposing Trump, that's it. That's it. Opposing Trump is blatantly obvious. That's like sort of like a barrier to entry to be in opposition definitionally. You know why? Because I don't know if you got the memo, and I know some people are trying to pretend like this isn't the case. Trump's a Republican. That's what he is. He's a Republican. You know what his policies are? They're Republican policies. Each and every one of them. There is no policy that any other Republican wouldn't do. You know the difference between Trump and Republicans? Trump doesn't have any subtlety. He doesn't care. He says what he wants. So the ugliness of those policies are out in the open. It's basically like, hey, turns out it's a turd. There were sprinkles on it before, but now the sprinkles are off. But you know what? It still is. That's what's going on here. That Trump's so if you don't oppose him, and by the way, opposing someone means you have an alternative. Otherwise, you're just an armchair coach. Hey, that's lame. What's your alternative? Nothing. We're not that. We're not that. Hey, date me. I'm not that other guy that's a jerk. Hey, that guy that got too drunk at a bar and just threw up all over the bar stool and got kicked out. I'm not him. You should go out with me. That will work for nobody in the year 20 never. So yes, opposing, and people that think all of our problems started with Trump, that everything that this country's been through, the fact that we have two parties bought and sold by the same owners, that the Democrats have completely lost their footing with the working class entirely, and deservedly so. That we have two options that are pro-war, that are pro-environmental destruction, that oppose workers' rights, that pretty much oppose unions, although they'll tell you otherwise, but pretty much oppose unions, that don't care about educational opportunities, that do nothing for young people, whether it's young people dealing with crippling debt or young people that have to go to school in fear every day because there might be another shooting. They don't care. That's our leadership. And to think these problems started the day Donald Trump took office, that is the equivalent of a person letting themselves go for 40 years, not caring what they eat, having a diet of chocolate, macaroni and cheese at McDonald's, not exercising at all other than to lift a television remote, and then 40 years later looking at themselves and blaming the mirror. That's what it's the equivalent of. It has a naivety and blindness to a level that I wish I could relate to. I wish my head could be that far in the sand, because then, damn it, I'd be a better surfer. And that'd be cool. Democratic voters want to see more than just opposition to the president. They want candidates for Congress who actually advocate progressive policies. At least 8 candidates running on explicitly progressive platforms won primaries. The explicit is important there. And I don't mean explicit meaning they cursed a lot on the campaign trail. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. It was behind closed doors if they did. I mean explicit like these are card-carrying, dues-paying DSA members. Democratic Socialists of America. Those are some of the people that won. The 2018 midterm elections will be long remembered as a pivotal moment in American history. I hope so. If we are successful, we can put an end to the disastrous Trump agenda. That's from Bernie Sanders. Now, I would add something to the end of what Bernie said there. I would add, and we have something really great to replace it with. We're not replacing it. with nothing. Now let's go back to some of these victories. What do some of these victories include? They include Summer Lee, a DSA member in District 34 in the Pittsburgh area for the State House. It also includes Sarah Enamorado, another DSA member in District 21 in Pittsburgh for the Pennsylvania State House. Now, I kind of highlight those two because I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was born there. I grew up there. And I can tell you that not only did those candidates win, and they won big, they won handily. They kicked ass and took names. Who did they beat, Ron? Did they just beat like some nobody? Was it somebody that was like kind of progressive-y but not as progressive, so they were more progressive, so they won? Did they beat somebody that really had no business being in politics? Maybe it was one of the 28% that took that pool and was like, hey, I'm not Trump. Did they beat? No, they beat a political dynasty in that area. They beat members of the Costa family. I grew up surrounded by that family, and I can tell you firsthand, they are the Clintons of Western Pennsylvania, and in my humble, subjective opinion, they are even more annoying. I know you thought that, I didn't think that was possible, Ron. It is. Check it out. They beat the Costas. Now, what were the Costas doing while all this was going on? Because they knew the DSA was coming for them. They knew that was happening. What did they do? They started sharing all these articles about party unity and how what the DSA is doing is bad. They're all about party unity over at the Costas. What did Dom Costa do when he knew he was going to lose? The party unity loyalist? Dom Costa tried to write in as a Republican last minute and run that way. Mr. Party Unity. Because it's all about unity, unless by unity you mean if you want progressive change, shut up and vote for us anyway and you're not getting us. Unity doesn't mean, well, if it's in my best interest, I'm going to do what I want. Not only did Dom Costa lose, but he was exposed as the corporatist stooge that he is and has always been from day one. And every other Costa needs to go too. There's still some of them floating around, and I hope there's more DSA members primarying them out a little bit at a time, because it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it's man, it's poetic justice. Man, it feels good. Feels good.
Are you sick and tired of corporate Democrats as much as we are? Do you think we can have what the rest of the world has? Then come watch the Aggressive Progressives with us on the Young Turks Network.